There's been an extraordinary moment at the White House where Donald Trump and an ABC journalist have been involved in a bit of a back and forth in the grounds of the White House. It is a pretty good bit of TV. Here is exactly what happened on the grounds of the White House.
But is it appropriate, President Trump, that a president in office should be engaged in so much business activity?
Well, I'm really not. My kids are running the business.
But
I'm here.
you are also...
You know what the activity... Where are you from?
I'm from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, Four Corners program.
Well, the Australians, you're hurting Australia right... In my opinion, you are hurting Australia very much right now. And they want to get along with me. You know, your leader is coming over to see me very soon. I'm going to tell him about you. You set a very bad tone.
Well,
go ahead, John.
Trump, when the UAE does a deal like that,
you can set a nicer
when the UAE does a deal, what does it want in return?
Quiet.
Our America's editor, John Lyons, the one and only John Lyons, joins us now for more. Now, John, good morning. You were asking the president some questions. What was the context to all of this?
Well, James, we are researching a Four Corners program which is looking at Donald Trump and his family, their money, their investments. No other president before Donald Trump has had so much business activity in office in the 7 months since he's been returned. And it looks like the family wealth in that time has increased by some billions of dollars. And so the Four Corners program is looking at that increase in wealth. And so I came along this morning to ask President Trump, before he headed to the UK to meet the King, 2 or 3 of those questions on that. He began reasonably friendly manner when I said to him, generally you're seen as the wealthiest man to have had this office. He liked that part of it. He said, I hope so. But then when I asked him about how much wealthier he is now than he was when he came to office, the situation began to deteriorate to the point where, in the end, he sort of shouted to me to be quiet.
And John, there's a snippet of news in that, right? Now, we knew that there was going to be this meeting between Anthony Albanese and Donald Trump at some point. Donald Trump, in between saying that he's going to dob on you to the Prime Minister, effectively confirming there, I think, that there is going to be a face-to-face meeting pretty soon.
That's right, James. He more or less said it is going to happen. But he also, when he said hurting Australia's interests in the context of that visit, there was almost a hint there of possible retribution or retaliation, apart from the fact he said he's going to tell on me to Prime Minister Albanese. I'm not quite sure what he expects Prime Minister Albanese to do in terms of once he's been told on me. But there's a suggestion there too that it might damage relations between the US and Australia, which I think is an absurd notion, that 2 or 3 questions, legitimate questions, to the most powerful person in the world. If our job as journalists is to hold truth to power, then surely asking legitimate questions politely to the President of the United States should be acceptable. But in this day and age in America now, it's not. And we can see even yesterday Donald Trump announced he's suing the New York Times to the tune of $15 billion. So I think all this feeds into President Trump's sort of war on the media.
Yeah, we're going to keep asking the questions, aren't we, John? Just before I let you go, you're outside the gates of the White House at the moment. Are you welcome back inside?
Look, I hope so, James. For me, it was just a perfectly sort of normal thing to do, to ask questions that I don't think are provocative. I think are fair, are based on research. They were not asked in an abusive fashion. And if we've reached the point where asking those sort of questions prevents you from going into the White House, then I think it's a very dark day. I don't think we've yet reached that point, though.